everyone. My name is Mimi Ong and I'm honored to be your host for this afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us today as we launch the inaugural Philippine Fintech Festival at the Digital Pilipinas Festival. We're very happy to welcome our media guests. At this point, we'd like to acknowledge the participation of our co-presenter, Coins.ph, and our co-conveners, Etika Philippines, Angkas, Paymongo, Union Bank of the Philippines, Digico, and Advanced AI, right? Ninja Bank Philippines. A little louder, guys, at KBFG Philippines. Give it up. Uno Digital Bank. Creador. All right. Go Telecom. True Life UK. Boriseta Africa, Caution, and Saavedra. A round of applause. Bracas. Gcash. CLL Financial, Ms. April. Zendit Philippines. And Tech Exactly. Now, we would also like to acknowledge our partners, Startup Village, Bounce Back PH, and Fintech Philippines Association, FinScore, Mapua University, Geyser Maklang Communications, Philippine Daily Inquirer, Philippine Star, Manila Bulletin, United Neon, Coinvestasi, and CoinGeek. A round of applause for everyone. Now, the Philippine Fintech Festival is one part of the Digital Pilipinas Festival. The other part is the World Fintech Festival Philippines. The World Fintech Festival Philippines and the Philippine Fintech Festival are convened by Digital Pilipinas, that is the largest private sector movement for creating a technology, innovation, and anti-fragile system geared to teching up the country in partnership with Elevanti, an organization founded by the Monetary Authority of Singapore to foster public-private sector dialogue to advance fintech in the digital economy. The first ever Philippine Fintech Festival is set to be the country's largest digital economies festival, attended by prominent ASEAN leaders from the public and private sectors, including regulators, CEOs, CTOs, CIOs, venture capitalists, investors, tech and digital innovators, pioneering startup founders, entrepreneurs, and senior policy makers. I think we're ready to begin our program by listening to a message from the Digital Pilipinas and World Fintech Festival Philippines convener, Fintech Philippines Association Executive Director and Trustee, and Geyser Maklang Marketing Communications co-founder, Ms. Amor Maklang.
To talk about how a lot of what we've done in Digital Pilipinas the past 5 years. It started in 2019 when our dream of bringing the first ever Philippine delegation to what is the largest digital economies festival in the world, which is Singapore FinTech Festival. And many of you were there with us. It started with a dream, and it was supported by someone who believed that we could do it and that we should do it. Angkas was there. We had Coins.ph. We had some of the most promising fintechs who all believed that we could put the Philippines on the map. And how do you guys like our new home in Digital Pilipinas, which might prove to be a little bit interesting given the fact that we're digitalizing and yet we felt the need to anchor ourselves in a physical venue. So the Axon, after the festival, is going to be renovated as the home of Digital Pilipinas, and it will serve several purposes, from being a soft landing ground for many businesses from all over the world wanting to extend to the Philippines and to the rest of ASEAN. And we not only are doing it for startups, but we're also doing it for economies that right now are challenged with certain political upheavals, economic challenges. And what we want to be able is to create a hub for them to temporarily relocate so that if there is a need to preserve their innovation culture for when they're ready to go back, it can be done. Also, aside from the Philippine Fintech Festival and the World Fintech Festival, we also have multiple summits within. So we have the Cooperative Summit, and we are so extremely proud to have a long-standing partner of Technology for Good, Miss Ann Quisha of DigiCoop. I remember 2018 when we brought Union Bank and Traction and NCCC and the cooperative sector together in a journey that we knew could only benefit what is one of the preferred financial institutions in the country that is actually not very recognized and heralded, and that's the cooperatives. So this afternoon, we have the first ever cooperative summit that will actually move to Co-op Tech Summit happening in November, also here in Green Sun. Many of those who are here, so let me just very quickly, too many important people to acknowledge. I'm so proud of the support of KPMG, Mr. Noel Manoan, has been an evergreen supporter of Digital Pilipinas from the start, but primarily the heart of Digital Pilipinas happens this afternoon. So there are 3 workshops happening every day. Imagine industry advocacy as a service, right? So where we have the incumbents and the tech leaders, regulators, civil society, and the technologists coming together to try to solution a problem, come out with an output, and also the relevant legislation as supported by Acute Law Attorney John Abilene. And in order to ensure that whatever we commit, we do, I'd ask for the support, of course, of KPMG. Thank you so much to KPMG, specifically Mr. Noel Manoan. We're very pleased to welcome the newest tech in the Philippine Fintech Festival and the Digital Pilipinas ecosystem, which is Wealth Tech. Wow, Cole Financial at 500,000 active users, can you imagine? Without even trying very hard, they grew that community. And we look to Cole Financial, and we have here Miss April Lee. Sorry, she's always going to be April Lee to me because you're batchmates in university. Essentially, our vision is prosperity for all Filipinos, regardless of their state in life. Whether you're a security guard or you're a unicorn, there is an opportunity for you to have wealth planning and wealth management. So thank you so much. Mr. Manish Bai, I remember Manish, I didn't even have an idea that he's looking to disrupt the digital banking space. He's one of our supporters in Digital Pilipinas since 2000, at the beginning of the pandemic. And we're happy and excited to welcome your launch, which is happening on the final day, right? So guys, you better be there because you might do a coin drop. We don't know, right? So I'm happy because ecosystems are being built as we speak. So I know that, I think Way's gonna give you a coin drop if you all attend the summits. And in the case of, see, they're passing their wallets now.
I'm going to give everyone an account.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna put money in it. And 2-year deposit.
Hey guys, whenever we say things in Digital Pilipinas, it happens, I promise you. There you go.
Yeah, we got a starting bid here.
Yes. Of course, how can I not? Sorry, we're so rowdy because number one, we're so hungry. And second, we are family. You've probably seen the ecosystem grow. We're more like family than anything else. And that's why, they continue to tolerate me grudgingly. Miss Erica Dizongo is our champion for fintech and banking and has been really probably our oldest partner in digital Philippines. Okay, it started with Tito and RV, who are far older, right? But I did insist that send someone more charming and far more beautiful. So it's now Erica's job to champion fintech and also banking in a digital Pilipinas. Wow, where do I begin with coins? Do you really want me to start 8 years ago? I have seen coins from when it first started 8 years ago, from when it was acquired by a mobile hailing company who shall not be named. And now, please meet Wayne, our sledgehammer, the Thor of Coins.ph, building something amazing. But we'll put a pin on that because we're also going to launch on Friday. So how exciting it is, right? To really put the Philippines on the blockchain and decentralized asset map. You gotta ask the guys what they're up to. I'm the least important and least interesting person in this ecosystem. They all have actual use cases. Where do I begin with George Rieta? Angkas is probably the reason why most ride-hailing apps in ASEAN cannot sleep and enter the Philippines. I mean, this is a direct quote from one of them. But more than that, I think George and we started many years ago. We launched not Digital Pilipinas, but Brand Pilipinas. So he's been one of my longest standing collaborators. But more importantly, I think George, more than a technologist, is a nationalist. So ask him what he's doing. And he's our chair for mobility and transport. So please do listen in on the workshop this afternoon. Really changing things around. Mike Kama, who I've known several lifetimes also, in his latest reincarnation as the country manager for advanced AI, one of the 5 unicorns in the digital Pilipinas ecosystem. He's here to ensure that all of your digital and financial transactions are safe and secure. Because what is technology unless you can rely and count on it, right? Now, we have Mike, who's our friend from Broncos, right? Thank you so much, our champion for open finance. The partner of Visa for open finance here in the region, in Asia Pacific. And please join Todd Schweitzer's keynote on the final day as well. Last but not the least, I abducted an international partner. So you probably have noticed that we have specific country partners. We actually have partners all the way from Eurasia, all the way to, of course, ASEAN is very, very much represented. We have partners from Israel who are coming down on Friday, and of course, Singapore. And I'm extremely proud of our partnership with the Digital Success Program of the government of Hungary, which is actually facilitated by the Bureau of Investments. So special shout out to Yusef Perry, Yusef Fita, Director Lali, who's been helping Digital Pilipinas connect with various markets to promote Filipino technologists all over the world. And so we have Mr. Joby Laszlo of the Digital Success Program, and one of our most active partners, together with the government of Israel, Singapore, and Indonesia. And on that note, I think, Mimi, let's get to the heart of the media briefing. They have so much to say. You can output perhaps 10, 13 articles out of each and every one because they have unique use cases. Maraming salamat po, and please help us build the digital Pilipinas for 2023.
Thank you for that, Amor. Since you did the brief introduction, so let's do a quick sweep of all of our panelists. I will ask each one of you to answer 3 questions. It's the same for everyone. The first question is, how old are you?
Oh my God!
Just kidding. The average age of employees in your company. What is the average age Give us a ballpark figure. Second, what is your biggest digital initiative at this point? And most importantly, how do you see digital transformation bringing digital economies of the ASEAN together and your role in it? So again, 3 questions. Average age in your company, of employees in your company, what is your biggest digital initiative today, and how do you see digital transformation bringing economies in the ASEAN together with your help, of course. Let's start with maybe Mr. Bunon from KPMG, sir.
So good afternoon, everyone. KPMG were around 1,500 people, mostly CPAs, lawyers, and now increasingly engineers. Average age is around 26 to 28, so very young. What is a big thing that we're doing now? We are looking to help local governments tech themselves up, utilize technology for governance, to deliver good services to a younger constituency, to use it for regulation, and to essentially also make their cities more livable. So we do that by bringing our expertise to them, whether it's in strategy, project management, understanding new technologies, as well as our financial expertise, how to finance all of these initiatives. And the last question about how do we think that we can connect all ASEAN together? Well, KPMG is a global organization. I work very closely with my colleagues across the ASEAN, and we share a lot of so the stuff we're doing in the Philippines, we're piloting it in the Philippines so that we can bring it to local governments in Vietnam, in Malaysia, for instance, in Indonesia. So that's essentially, I hope I answered 3 questions comprehensively. Thank you.
So, yeah. We're not that young. Our company's not that young, but I think average age of our employees is very young. They're in the 20s. I'm quite sure about that. So, what's one of the exciting things we're doing? Well, I think for everybody knows that UL Financial is about, our goal is we want all Filipinos to be rich. We believe all Filipinos deserve to be rich. And although we started out as a stockbroker, we want to have more products that are available digitally to Filipinos. So that's what we're doing. We're, first of all, increasing the products in our shelves, and secondly, making it more, I think, more easily available to more Filipinos so that more Filipinos can achieve their wealth goals. And then, what's the last one? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, as far as connecting the ASEAN countries, I think it's quite simple, like making these ASEAN products available in our platform. That's one of the things that we can do. And it can be through, say, ASEAN funds or funds that per country, so that investors can participate in the different ASEAN countries and in their growth stories by buying, say, shares, mutual funds, and all those to our platforms.
And one of your affiliates, CTS Global, is
investing in ASEAN. Yes, we are. Yes, they are investing in global markets, and one of the markets that they are a bit excited about is, of course, Indonesia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Maybe with your permission, I would like to start with question 3 first. Amor knows that as a digital bank, we always don't do things the traditional way. So history has shown us time and again that any big transition always starts with a unified movement across society, commercials, governments, regulations. You can go back and see any freedom movement or any big change. And today we are at the cusp of this digitalization, one of the biggest change which we are facing right now. And I believe in this context, what Digital Pilipinas, the Philippine Fintech Festival, is trying to do is immense. Without this ecosystem, without partnership, without collaboration, both in country and cross-border, we will not be successful on digitalization. So I think one of the key aspects which we are trying to do, and I keep speaking about it in every opportunity I get, is for me, no one's a competitor. Everyone's a collaborator. And this collaboration doesn't need to just be in Philippines. It has to be cross countries, it has to be ASEAN, it has to be regional, it has to be global. And unless that is enabled through digitalization is not possible. So that's my key message. Keep up the good work. And all of you here, media, you have a big role to play because you have to carry this message out. And no one claps for you, but I will request everyone, please do a round of applause for our media partners out there because you have a very important responsibility to make sure this collaboration is kind of linked. Now to the second question, I will answer the same way. I haven't sat down and done the maths, but the average age would be in 20s. And we want to keep it that way. We have a bubble strategy. We are a regulated organization, so we want to have a very seasoned senior management, but at the same time very fintech, very juniors out there, but really making the difference to think differently. So bringing the average age to 20s. In terms of what we are trying to do, I'll tell you again the story. There are banks, then there are banks, and there are banks. The first bank was 500 years old. Even in Philippines, I don't have the exact number, but I think the banks were 1700 years back. But then you look at it, still talk of official reports of 30% people only bank. Financial credit inclusion in terms of people borrowing from the organized sector just being 9%. Which is banks have existed for 500 years. This shouldn't be the case. So what we are really trying to do is change the barometer. We are a digital bank which is lending-led. We call ourselves a lending-led digital bank. What does it mean? It means that while we do save, borrow, protect, transact, we give you all the life cycle needs in one place, but we will be led by lending. And that's the difference we want to bring to Philippines to make sure more and more people come under the organized sector, have easy access to loans, and at competitive rates. Thanks.
So, again, I'm Anne Krisha from ActionNet. We are the technology partner focused on digital transformation for our enablers, focused on the countryside financial institutions, beginning with cooperatives, onto the other enablers like rural banks, cooperative banks, other MFIs, other FSIs, like thrift banks and so. So we built a platform that we put together so many ecosystems in that platform where it can provide the digital services for cooperatives onto their members. Average age of our employees, like around 24, 25. Of course, if you're into tech, you must have the recent skills of these technologies, all your developers and engineers. And how do we think this will play a role in the ASEAN development in terms of technology? As focused in the cooperatives, this is a sector wherein even in different countries, this is very much widely progressing as an alternative bank or financial institutions, mostly for the grassroots, but not in the case of other more developed countries like Spain, other in Europe, like in UK, where cooperatives are the leading financial institutions than banks. But here, it's not the case, which I think that is somewhat ambitious to take on pushing them to this type of abilities wherein they could also excel the same way as how other commercial banks are excelling in the country. So that's where we are playing right now, and that's the focus of it.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica Lizongo. I'm from Union Bank of the Philippines, and I currently head the Fintech Business Group as well as the Digital Service and Open Finance Center of Excellence. I think we're the only bank in the Philippines with a specific group that is dedicated to fintechs, and so I think that's very important for us here today. In terms of the average age of the bank, I would say 28 to 32. But that doesn't mean to say that we don't have employees and stakeholders that spans across generations. We do have that, right? Because it's still important that we have different views and perspectives coming from different ages. In terms of what we're here for today and what we're trying to push for, so Union Bank belongs to the avoidance group, and its main goal really is to be the first techno-conglomerate. Did I say that correctly? So we're doing that across the different business units of the AEB group, and in Union Bank in particular, I think what we're really trying to push for is open economy. I hope you heard the keynote speech earlier. And when we say open economy, right, we want to be interconnected with all of you guys here, even the media, because it'll span across different aspects of our lives. In terms of what we're doing as well in Union Bank to really execute this, I think it's been in the news recently. We also have our own fintech arm, UBX, and we are also launching Union Digital for this year. And the whole rationale behind that really is so that as the changing behaviors of the country are transforming, we also want to be there with you guys through that journey. And that's also part of open banking, open finance, and the open economy. Now, in terms of what we're doing really to span across the ASEAN, so fine, we are a local bank, but at the end of the day, that's no longer how we want to compete, especially with digitization, right, in this day and age. And so how we do that really is by competition. So I know it's a term that a lot of people have used, but really have they done it? Have they executed? Do they have real live use cases for it? And it's through partnerships with other fintechs, other tech companies, and other banks that we make sure that it's not just concentrated, the products and services from offshore are brought here to the Philippines so that you guys can enjoy it. And so it's a symbiotic thing. Once we do that from offshore, we also return the same type of engagement to them. And so I think that's it. If you want to know my real age, check me out on LinkedIn.
22.
Oh yeah, I love you, George. Okay.
Hey everybody, thanks for putting putting the game together here. So I feel like I was joking around. I feel like a combination of like an NBA All-Star game or like the Avengers Summit or something like that. So
And a college party.
there you go. No, it's more like the Avengers. Like I think more than that, or something like this. You're like Nick Fury of the Avengers. But anyhow, thank you guys for having me here. My name is Wayne Wajo, the CEO for Coins. We're one of the older companies here, but I think what I'd like to talk about is actually sort of more about the future of Coins. I think our user base is actually quite young. I think our average is from 20 to 25. And that's where I want to get our employees' age to be. So I'm actually bringing up this data. So I need to hire more young people at Coins. What I'm really excited about is we want to be the bridge for our users into Web3, and I also want to bring sort of Philippines to be a leader in Web3, not just in ASEAN but actually globally. And I think we have a really unique opportunity to do that on account of several things that I talked about here in the summit. But I think that's what I'm really excited about. I think we're going to bring some of the tools that historically have not been available. I think to people in this country, but I think now with digital assets, with blockchain, there's a sort of almost like an equalizing motion that sort of makes a lot of these things becoming more available to the creators of this country, to the young people of this country, and then how do we sort of allow them to create for themselves and to bring that content on a global basis and to make money from that, right? And I think while the group here and sort of over the last 10 years now have been working a lot about financial inclusion. I think that's still, that road is just getting started. But what I think Web3 and digital assets can allow for us to achieve is actually financial empowerment. And I think that's really, really important because, you can't get rich if you don't own anything, right? I think that's like, digital assets is a good place to start, I think, just because. And then at Coins, what I'm really excited about in terms of collaborating wise, is basically, letting Philippines to be the leader and sort of and bring that and exporting that to other countries. Not in terms of technology, but actually like our models of operation, how we want to build it, and then let others learn from us here. So that's what I'm really excited about and to share with everyone tomorrow.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat na nandito po ako isang karangalan na I'm here with this distinguished panel. Thank you very much, Omar, for setting this up. You really make things happen. We're here with the gatekeepers, the protectors, and the distributors of our future money. And I am always a willing beneficiary of that future money. For average age, just so you know, I'm not 25, but thank you very much. But our average age is 25. I actually bring it up. I'm 40, for anyone who's asking, but married. But my youngest employee is 17 years old, and he's one of our most talented programmers. But he's also in school at the same time working for us, and I think that's legal somewhere. I know, yeah. May sulat na sa kanyang magulang. Simple lang po ang aming pakay. Tabihan ko po ang mga mayayaman. Pangalan lang po, points that PH, I said. I'm excited because I said, points that PH, dapat kaibiganin po natin yan. So, pakay po namin.
Guys, we're sorry. We really are serious about digitalizing.
Seryoso naman sila natin. Tumatawa. So, anyway, pakay ko po is very, very simple. There's, paano po natin, how do I bring, right? How do we empower, how do we enable yung masa through technology? And I think we were a test case in Angkas, and we were able to successfully create such a model for a very, very small portion of that. And I want to spread that to the masses. And when I say masses, it's not something that's up in there. I'm not talking about 80 million, 90 million, 100 million Filipinos. I'm talking about a very particular sector, 18 million motorcycle riders. Right? We realize that if we're in the Angkas platform, we uplift them from poverty. Every single person, every single biker in the Angkas platform is living a good life right now and taking care of their families. Imagine if we can extend this to 18 million motorcycle owners across the country who are all low-income family households. That is our next goal, right? And that is how we use digitalization to improve people's lives. But we're very focused, right? And also, everyone here is also focused on a particular niche. And that's what we want to focus at. That's where we think we can be most powerful and most effective. And how do we work with a region? Very simple. Instead of them just being exposed to local products, exposed to local technology, because of our platform and because of the partnerships through forums like this, Digital Pilipinas and the Fintech Festival, we're able to now expand and expose them to products in the region, right? Better rates, right? Good insurance plans, so on and so forth, right? And it will only happen with the collaborative effort of so many people, so many experts, so many regulators trying to create the best product for the people that will really give the highest effect, positive effect. And to those that need it, which is my sector and the masa. So that's basically why I'm here. Why is Angkas in Fintech? Is again, we want to be close to money so that we can make everybody rich. Not just this panel. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello there. I'm Mike Kappa. I'm country manager for Advanced AI. So Advanced AI is a 6-year-old startup headquartered in Singapore. And here in the Philippines, this is year number.
It's a duocorn.
It is a duocorn, right? But the valuations before are frothy, but I'd say still lofty a bit. But what really matters to us is providing value to our end customers, which are enterprises. Although we're young, 6 years old, globally and 2 years old in the Philippines, we pride ourselves by being able to look at the customer journeys of our ecosystem partners, particularly those in financial services, and provide them the AI and big data solutions to make it frictionless as well as secure. So that's to us the most important thing. Like many of us here in this room, collaboration is very important. Now on the average age, I think it's pretty common in tech that we're pretty young, right? I'd say for us it's about 30s. The reason I said that is that we're around 200 spread across the globe. So the reason I said 30s is because the oldest employee I know is 50-ish, and the youngest employee I know is 20-ish. So that drags me to around 30. So it's a mix of engineers, mostly engineers, focused on AI and big data. And some of us do commercial functions, some of us wear multiple hats, like what the startups do. So our value towards the vision of Digital Pilipinas is really to localize AI and big data, which sounds so hard to reach, right? Localize it and bring it down to the masses who most need it. You would think that probably a security guard, as Amor mentioned, or a fishbowl vendor, my favorite example, do not have anything to do with AI and big data. In fact, they could be our greatest beneficiary. And I know it's true, but technology is, of course, the greatest equalizer. And we can't do that alone. We just provide the technology, we just provide the APIs for our customers and partners to consume. At the end of the day, we need an ecosystem to be able to roll out secure and frictionless services down to their end customers. So in a nutshell, what we pride ourselves in being able to help in consumer protection, and help in making financial services, and more recently e-commerce services and cooperative services, for example, more accessible. Thank you.
I had a joke about going last, but since I'm not, I can't say that anymore. But basically, hi everyone. My name is Jimmy. I'm the director for customer success in Brownpass. In Brownpass, basically what we do is we provide an infrastructure for APIs to be developed by our partners. Again, emphasizing on what has already been mentioned on partnerships, building this system, building this digital transformation on a scale game. Right? We can't do it alone, but we'd like to provide the APIs to allow you to perform this transformation through our help, through our partnerships. And I'm surprised nobody has mentioned it yet, but in Asia, 700 million population and 70% unbanked. That's really one of the key things that we are proud of, that we are focusing in Broadcast, because there's a lot of potential that hasn't been tapped. There are people that don't have access to these financial services, and hopefully through the services we provide, the APIs that we bring, that is accelerated for digital transformation. In terms of average age, we're also quite young, 6-year startup. I'd say in around mid-20s, maybe the edge of the 20s up to 29. But in general, we bring a lot of enthusiasm. We bring a lot of market experience through the platforms that we operate in. And we're really excited to be part of this panel. Again, a lot of important people in the industry here. Thank you so much again for Digital Filipinas for bringing this together.
Jimmy, what was the joke?
Yeah, I was about to say that everything's been said, so I'm just not going to repeat everything they said. But it's okay.
All right. And of course, Joey.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jobai Laszlo. I'm the Managing Director of the Digital Success Program in Hungary, which is a government initiative, and we are quite young, as I introduced in the panel discussion. We started in 2015 based on a consultation among the citizens of Hungary. I don't know the proper average age, but we are not that young because we employ a lot of policy makers, strategy makers, public servants, and of course teachers. I would put it somewhere around 38 to 40, so really not that young and not a tech company. And it is interesting that when I became the managing director, I was the only IT person in the company, and even when we were above 500 people, I was the only one with an IT degree. But I think this is good because when I studied at the university, it was like if you are an IT engineer, you have to be proficient in everything. If there comes an agriculture project, you have to become an agro engineer as well. If there comes an automotive project, you have to be a mechanic as well. But now it's like digitalization is all around us, and everyone has to know IT. Not IT technicians have to know everything. So we have all kinds of people with all kinds of degrees, and people come to work for us and saying like, okay, good thing the government launched this program, because I'm saying to digitize the agriculture for like the last 30 years, and at last there's some policy making and a new project in that area. Originally, we started our operations in the ASEAN region in the end of 2019. We made a very great business forum in Singapore. Unfortunately, this business works mostly personal connections, so that when the COVID came, we ceased our operations here. And as soon as we could come, we came to Manila. And the good thing we found the Digital Pilipinas, and thanks to everyone who was initiating it, all the departments Amor mentioned, and of course the Embassy of Hungary in the Philippines had a very active role in. And this is very intense half a year. We signed an MOU, we participated in events, each other visited each other, and I think our original intent to export the Hungarian digital knowledge and digital products is now a joint effort, and it goes both ways. So the Philippines, I think, is a great access and soft landing space for accessing the Asian market for the Hungarian digital startups, and also Hungary may be a good landing place for the Philippine and Asian companies to access the EU market, which isn't that small as well. Thank you very much.
Remind Amy, everyone, the Hungarian embassy has slid back earlier International Day to coincide with the festival, and they're actually going to, we're going to celebrate with them on the 20th. So thank you to the Hungarian government. We're doing this later for the 23rd, and it's going to happen on the 20th. So we hope to see you all.
All right. So now that we know more about the companies they represent, I think we can open the floor to questions from the press. Do we have takers? Yes, we'll see.
Incident that the first time in 5-6 years when the FinTech festivals started, that all of the FinTech events are lining up, right? So like a constellation, and like by design, it is lining up to make a statement to the rest of the world that every first week of October to mid-November, all eyes must be trained on ASEAN. So we kick off with the Philippines, then we move to Thailand, we move to Singapore, then to Cambodia, and then we finish off the party, we just call it a party, but it's really a lot of work, as you can see, in Bali. Yeah, right, we're working in Bali. For the Indonesian FinTech Summit, and we are going to be signing a cross-country agreement to support ASEAN FinTech Month. So this year, the handover between Cambodia to Indonesia, so that's why we have, please join our Indonesia Day tomorrow, right? So today's Singapore Day, tomorrow's Indonesia Day. This is a recognition of some of the most important markets in the ASEAN FinTech ecosystem who we're working closely with. We have a work stream with Alavandi, which is the private sector arm of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. You've met Chief Mohanty many times here in the Philippines. We're very happy to have OJK. And after tomorrow, you'll get to hear our twin sister in ASEAN and how so similar our issues are together. So it's no accident. This isn't just for the Philippines, but it's an invite to the rest of the world to come and invest, come and play, come and collaborate, and be in ASEAN. Because in ASEAN, there is no winter.
All right. Would like to chime in? Answer
Yeah,
Yesterday, I really interviewed the chairman of the BCI, and he admitted that there's a disconnect between the 21st century job requirements and the skill set of our students. So now we are pushing for the fintech development in the Philippines, Web3, Metaverse, AI, VR, etc. But on the other hand, we are producing students who are not equipped for this requirement. So how do you reconcile this discrepancy? I want to address my question particularly to Ms. Erica Gold, because you have the innovation campus in San Pedro.
So I think the San Pedro Innovation Campus is the first step, right? It builds on hackathons. You can also enroll yourself there. So it tries to connect the population, the culture, and upskilling our workforce, right, into what's next, what's coming. And I don't think we would have done that if we didn't believe that the Philippines itself and its population, its digital savvy, and its relatively young population is ready for it. So to build a building that way for that, to come up with an innovation hub in the Philippines is a big capital investment on our part, but I think that just stands to show that we really believe in what we're doing and that the population needs to follow. Because at the end of the day, if our population is not as ready, then who's going to use all of these technologies? If they're not as ready, who's going to innovate for us in the Philippines as a whole? And so that, I think that's also how we as a bank and how we as a conglomerate are trying to improve that and to help the Philippines in our own way.
And if may I just add, how are you collaborating with education? Are you cooperating with the education side? Because 2015 data showed, and I always love going back to this data, in 2015, Vietnam produced 105 engineers for every 100,000 population. We produced 50. And at that point, we had an even bigger population in Vietnam. So is there an effort from the private sector side to cooperate and work with schools to try to boost this? Maybe Erica can go to Mr. Manoy.
Yeah, sure. So we have an accelerator program, and that accelerator program is actually free. If you guys want, students and the general population want to learn more about data science, AI, algorithms, APIs. So there's a lot of this whole slew of new technologies, and that program is available. We're also trying to work with the government so that these programs are actually started in TESDA, for example, or other schools, right? And want to upskill themselves and change their curriculum for what's to come. It's a slow burn, I'll be honest, right? Because it has to be done in a national level. I think non-private schools will have to start that as well. And it has to come from the government. And so we'll see, right? Maybe that is one of the things that we can push for here today under Digital Pilipinas.
Mr. Manoy?
So I come from what's normally thought of as a very traditional industry, which is the accounting, auditing, tax industry, but we've been making great strides in offering technology for financial applications. And what we've been doing is actually upskilling our accountants to be tech savvy. So one of the things, for example, we're doing is programming robots to do financial accounting transactions. Transactions which used to take 72 hours to do can now be done by a bot in 1 minute. So we're working, but you see, it's a good question you have because, even in traditional, what are thought of as traditional areas, we need to upskill them to be more technology oriented. So we're working with schools to create super accountants. I would say super accountants who are practically software engineers. Because we know that the next frontier of accountancy isn't, bean counting, so it's usually thought. But accountants who are savvy in data analytics, accountants who know how to use blockchain, accountants who know how to program bots to do financial transactions. So we're actually doing it now, but so we're working with a number of schools to improve their upskill or turbocharge their programs.
All right, we have a question from Sir. Yes. We'll hand you over the mic. Please introduce yourself and direct your question to the speaker you'd like to ask.
Hello, good afternoon. My question, I'm Tyler Jasper Biel of Philippine Daily Inquirer. My question is for Ms. Erica Dizon. UBX recently launched Artifact, the country's first tokenized NFT platform. So my question is, do you see further adoption of NFT in the country with this platform? Why is it important to push for NFT trading? And I'm just curious, how many art pieces do you have in your platform? Thank you.
Yeah, so the first question is, do I think NFT is going to be useful? Definitely, and if the platform is going to be a good platform for that, of course, I'm going to say yes, right? And why so? Why do we think NFTs is going to be important? So the way I think mentioned it earlier, right? You need to own something in order to be considered rich. And I think NFTs and digital assets starts to democratize that for the general population. Although now I'm not too sure, it's a bear market. Some people have made a lot of money, some people have also lost a couple. And just to show real life use cases, right? Within the banking system, we are open to crypto trading, right? As well as in digital assets, and some of them have actually made millions going into that space. So it's a testament that, you know, as a flight attendant, she used to be a flight attendant, and then recently we saw her accounts have ballooned, and we asked her just for KYC purposes, right? Where is all of this coming from? And true enough, it's coming from NFT trading. So it just shows you a perfect example, right? That it could be for everyone. I mean, you don't have to be way like an expert as he is, or an expert trader for NFTs, but it will help you and uplift you, right, by owning something. In terms of, sorry, what was the second question?
Do you see further adoption of NFTs?
Yeah, so the Philippines, I think, is right one of the biggest holders of NFTs globally, if not the second, based on the recent statistics. And that should show you that during the pandemic, a lot of people were looking for what to do, how to earn extra income, given a lot of layoffs. And I think the NFT, the digital asset market, has really helped them. Although personally, I think it's still in its infancy. We will be seeing more platforms wherein people can also build their own NFTs and put it outside in the market. Right now, I think globally there are only two big ones. So we'll see more and more of that in Web3 and as we approach the DeFi economy. And in terms of the number of NFTs that we have there, we do have certain collaborations with Leon Gallery. So they are one of the biggest auction houses here in the Philippines. So we're excited to see how that pans out. And we've also tried to make into an NFT a Sanso artwork. So that has been fractionalized, and apparently it's also been sold out. So there is a market there. So we'll see, and we're excited to see how that space further grows.
May I suggest perhaps our champion for blockchain and digital assets weigh in. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. I didn't know that.
No, I think it's. I think last year was in my world I call it the proof of concept of what's possible. I think Web3 and digital assets is still at an infancy phase. If you map sort of like global blockchain users, it sort of like tracks to like 1997 internet users from like the user tracking perspective. I think it's still very early. And what I've seen is just my like 5th year, I think, in crypto, sort of like every few years there's like 6 months of like bull, followed by like 2 or 3 years of a bear market. And then that 6 months bull market shows you sort of like a mirage of what the future looks like. And then the future comes 2 years later, you get another mirage of what the future looks like. And then you go into the bear market again. So I think like I think we're just sort of at the very early phase. And then eventually we'll get to sort of like more mainstream adoption. And I think that's when sort of like everybody on the stage wants an NFT, or everybody in this room wants an NFT. But I think from an NFT perspective, I think there's just different use cases that's going to come. I think right now it's still focused more on the cultural side, but eventually I think it will evolve into sort of like the financial side, it will evolve into sort of the real world side, and it will evolve into sort of just the other use cases coming on.
Just one last follow-up question. Yes, it was mentioned that people were finding alternative sources of income during pandemic, so they turned to NFT trading, to cryptocurrency. But do you think now the interest is still as strong as it was before, or do you see it weakening now because of the conditions in the market? Thank you.
So we are in a bear market, right? But then as good traders say, you buy low and then you sell high. So since market prices aren't there, it could be a good time or a good opportune time to actually start building your portfolio. Really, it depends on your risk appetite, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you do it on secure platforms. And so yeah, it's a bear market, but obviously I think it will be here to stay. The use case will just continue to grow. Right now, we see a lot of use cases for that in remittances, as well as play to earn, which has been a big contributing factor to the economy, especially during downtimes during the pandemic. So yeah.
Interesting times for it. Sir Eli, you have a question? All right.
Hi, good afternoon. Ellery from eLifestyle Manila. Since the bank starts already on tokenized money or cryptocurrency, what are the advantages in having this when money is no longer paper, it becomes digital? What are your safety nets, and what are your threats that coins that be should be 1,000 times bigger than a bank? So what are the risks and the precautions that you're looking into? Will there be some kind of probably a Y2K scenario in cryptocurrency? And that's it.
Sorry, what's Y2K?
I just read it. I'm not sure. I just read it. I just read it. Anybody can.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's like I have this not this idea. It's like the biggest use case, like one of the biggest use cases for blockchain right now is actually, or the biggest application on blockchain right now is the US dollar.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like there's like $100 billion worth of US dollar stable coins. You know, about 40 plus billion on USDT, 40 plus billion on USDC, and 20 plus billion on USD. Right? It's $100 billion of like deposits. And that's basically just collateralized US dollar being issued on blockchain. Right? And I think that's just one use case. Like I said before, I think that money flows not through the banking system. Right? That money actually flows on blockchain. And I think investments are being made with stable coins. I think down the road, maybe remittance will be done through stable coins. I think we want to collaborate. We want to work with all the financial sector here to sort of like help people understand it and learn how to use it, and then make things more efficient. Right? The biggest and why do people use stablecoin? Zero settlement time. Right? Like if you're a business, somebody pays you, but the bank doesn't get you your money until 3 days later. Like, wait a minute, where's my money? Right? But the thing is, the stablecoin settles T+0. Right? You instantly get it in your account. And that's a far superior settlement time from a merchant if you're selling something, right? You get your money right away, right? So I think but the thing is, of course, I think given the newness nature of it, I think the technology is technology, but it's actually the people who are using it who really understand it and understand sort of the implications of it, and then the safety standards, the protocols, there's all these like spans and attacks. I think that's where the risk lies. I think it's that education process is really important, and then also for me, I promote working within the regulations. Right? Like for us, we're regulated by the PSP, so at least, there's that last line of defense, right? In case something happens to your money or to your crypto, there's a regulator behind us that sort of will help our consumers. Right? So I think everything's a work in progress. I think that's the exciting part, but it's also the challenging part.
Can you say that all the safety nets that you have?
Can I add something?
Sure.
Sorry. Looking at it from another perspective, right? So the Philippine peso is backed by $100 billion in reserves. So that's the dollar reserve fiat. So if you're looking at stability of currency, you just said what the US dollar reserves is backing for that.
All right. We do have one. Oh, we'll do a quick closing. Maybe, sir, you can approach the panelists later for your questions. We don't have much time. Sorry for that. But wait, just very quickly, is it true 16 million Filipinos own cryptocurrencies? Is it 16 million because of play to earn?
I think there's been all kinds of numbers being thrown around. My internal ballpark estimate, I think about 15. Crypto penetration in the Philippines is about 15 to 20%.
All right. Thanks for setting that straight. All right, we're ready for the closing. If you have questions you weren't able to enter in, please just approach the panelist and speaker. They'll be more than happy to take your questions. You can course through the organizers. Apologies for that. They're here. They're the beautiful women in black, so please do approach them. Final word from all of our panelists, maybe just 1 to 2 lines. What is the key takeaway that you hope our members of the press here take with them as they go through the festival and go on with their lives and do digital in their real life? Let's start with Mr. Bernard.
Yeah, so a lot of opportunities in digital. Part of my job is I have to attend a number of these industry briefings and conventions. And a lot of the conventions I've attended, conferences I've attended are so gloomy. But then now the vibe is so, here in this conference, so strong. Yes, because it's still a lot of opportunity. So stick around.
Wait till you have alcohol tonight. The vibe is just gonna raise the roof.
So for us, we just want more Filipinos to become wealthy or reach their wealth goals through fintech, through digital platforms.
I will say that at UNO, we put our money where our mouth is, or we put our focus. So I will encourage everyone to look at it. Though I have spoken about it earlier on our credit focus or lending focus, that's not all. So UNO today has a deposit product which you can earn 6.5% on a 2-year deposit. And I believe that's the only bank in the country which is offering a 2-year deposit with that kind of interest rates. Please go and look at all the innovative features at UNO and hang on, make the best of this conference. Thank you.
While we are all talking about so many digital jargons and all around, I think there's a huge population in the Philippines that's still underserved in terms of digital experience, and that is where we would want to play, and that is where I would also personally would want to ask the collaboration and the collaborative efforts of all the startups, fintech startups here in the Philippines. There's a huge market to serve, and by collaboration, I think we can achieve a true digital Philippines.
So for my end, I just want to lead off everyone here by saying that adversity breeds innovation, and I think there's still a lot of problems that can be solved within the country. And so we don't know what we don't know, right? And eventually the plan is to get there, and the goal to do that is together. And so for my end, I hope that members of the press will also write about open banking, open finance, and open economy, because not everyone knows or understands what it is and why it's important. A lot of us say here, right, financial inclusion, financial sustainability, and empowerment. But how? How do you guys plan to do that? And I think that is one of the best things that we can do for ourselves. Let's all connect with each other. Obviously, the money will flow, but let's make it flow here with one another. And it's not just about money, guys. Right? It's about the use cases. And I think a lot of people seem to forget about that. It's not just about valuations or profitability. And so that's what I want to leave off everyone here today, and how Union Bank is trying to plant that flag in terms of that space.
Yeah. Just do a coin drop right here. If you charge $2.99, you can get 50 pesos worth of Bitcoin if you charge smart $2.99 load into coins. There you go. That's the first offer. Thank you guys for having me.
I heard that, ha? Dami ang ibigay ng pera nito. You know I'm in the right place. Maraming salamat. Alam niyo, media napaka-importante niyo. Pareho tayo, tayong dalawa, napakita natin kung paano nakikinabang yung ordinaryong mamamayan sa teknolohiya. Ginawa po natin yun sa serbisyo, sa transportasyon. Ang pandemya po, nangyari at yung e-wallet at yung mga financial transactions naging posible po para sa maraming Pilipino. Ngayon naman po ay ang ating future in banking, future in financial inclusion. So, with your help again, we ask for your help again, we can do this together and we can make sure that it will benefit as many Filipinos as possible. Salamat po.
I'll echo what Amor mentioned this morning about bayanihan. And I think that's the overarching theme of the other panelists. So, bayanihan, but for me, from my point of view, let's use technology to be able to serve the underserved. Okay? And for us, we're here to experiment with our ecosystem partners. They could in fact use us for free to mature their use cases at the onset, and then we'll talk about the commercials later. So that's our mindset, that's our contribution towards bayanihan within Digital Pilipinas.
Yumi?
I hope I won't be too long. Hungary has 10 million citizens, and we always say that we are a country of 10 million football coaches, 10 million meteorologists, and 10 million education experts. So now I'm going to be an education expert regarding the question about the education. What I want, we actually saw that if you want to raise an engineer who can program a medical technology application, it takes like 25 years for them. Now, imagine what was the technology they taught in the schools and universities 25 years ago, and digitization has even grown faster since then. So, my main gist and what we are talking about in Hungary regarding digitization is forget the old school, because it's going so fast that you cannot stay out of it. So anyone who says that, okay, I have lived my life without this technology, without blockchain, without anything new, it won't mean that you won't have to use it or will be surrounded by that technology in a few years. Thank you very much.
All right, Jimmy?
Yeah, so for us in Broncos, there's a use case for every single Filipino. Let's all work on it together. It all starts from a small idea. Please have a chat in our booth. We'd love to hear your ideas on how we can collaborate, and let's make this change for the Philippines. Thank you.
All right, on that note, a warm round of applause for the panelists. Thank you so much. We do look forward to hearing more about the exciting developments at the inaugural Philippine Fintech Festival. We invite all of you to please attend the 5-day series that's happening now and up to Friday, October 21. Actually, our workshop's happening